Indiana's Wildcat Creek meanders from Kokomo to Lafayette with middle and southern forks through Carroll and Clinton counties.
My father grew up on the Wildcat, literally grew up next to the creek, and so every weekend we came during warm weather.
Joanne Clues is the third oldest of 14 kids.
My father had this great love of nature and water in particular, and he really imparted that to us.
The Wildcat is one of Indiana's natural scenic waterways, and creek enthusiasts like Clues and her siblings would have had a very different experience had a proposed dam been constructed in Lafayette, as was planned for many years for drinking water and to control flooding. During the 1960s and 70s, ardent advocates of the natural waterway waged a vitriolic crusade against the dam and the reservoir it would have created, Lafayette Lake. Gary Hill, known to his paddling friends as Muskrat, has been navigating the Wildcat Creek for over 40 years.
I started canoeing in 1972, and along with several other friends of mine, we had formed the Wildcat Canoe Club based out of Kokomo in 1975. As we started to canoe over here in the lower valley, which we hadn't seen before, we also saw how beautiful it was, and that made us want to join in the effort.
Hill was a member of the Wildcat Creek Federation, spearheaded by a very passionate woman, Connie Wick, the wife of a Lafayette minister. Referred to by supporters as the General, she waged a very public war against the dam along with paddlers, conservationists, and farmers. Wick was despised by Lafayette Lake supporters, boaters, and the recreation industry, land developers, businesses, and other entrepreneurs. For decades, the prospect of the dam was kept alive by Congress, allocating funds to the Army Corps of Engineers. Multiple studies were conducted over the years. The Wildcat Federation made it their mission to end Army Corps funding to stop the dam. Lafayette resident Rosemary Halsema recalled her testimony before a Congressional Appropriations Committee, telling them how estimates of recreation and tourism for a reservoir can be rosier than reality.
I trained as a travel agent, and I was working for AAA at the time, and so my portion of it was the reality of, because you've got a cost-benefit ratio that includes recreation. At the time, Huntington, Salamone, Mississinawa, Raccoon, Lieber, and Monroe had been built. They were open for business, and there was only one of them operating in the black out of all of those.
Halsema says only Monroe Reservoir south of Indianapolis was financially holding its own. Lafayette philanthropist Persis Newman didn't want to lose the free-flowing Wildcat Creek and poured her efforts into a group known as the Wildcat Creek Foundation
to develop an alternate plan to the reservoir. And this plan would be a series of parks along the creek. These parks would allow public access to the stream, which had been only gained by trespass before.
One key 50-acre purchase by the foundation was right at the confluence where the Army Corps of Engineers planned to locate the dam. This is now the site of Wildcat Park on Eisenhower Road. Newman says opponents of the dam were regulars at 2nd District Democratic Congressman Floyd Fithian's public meetings. She says he supported the dam and reservoir for a while.
One time he had a hearing over here, and one of our friends brought a little piglet and brought a barrel, a little keg. And of course, Floyd knew exactly what we were trying to say with that.
This I resent very strongly, not their personal attack upon me, but the indecently bad taste and the irrational action of this kind of a sick joke surely will separate the responsible people from the irresponsible people in the anti-reservoir movement.
Concerned by the emotionally charged spectacle, the nonpartisan League of Women Voters of Greater Lafayette decided to hold an educational meeting, offering all sides in the fight a chance to tell their side of the story. Mary Ellen Newdeck was the League's president at the time.
We had never studied or taken a position on the Lafayette Lake. I believe it was strongly backed by the Chamber of Commerce and by the business leaders of the community. A lot of people, I think, probably didn't care very much, but the opponents were so vociferous and so clamoring that it was clearly a hot topic, and there did not seem to be any resolution between the two.
In 1975, the Tippecanoe County Commissioners went on record in opposition to the dam. The death knell came in January of 1977. WASK's Mike Piggott and then Governor Otis Bowen.
And the first bill sent to the governor was deauthorization of the Wildcat and Big Pine project.
Neither in Big Pine nor in the Lafayette Lake were there any needs for impoundment of water for water supply. Therefore, we signed the deauthorization bill.
With that news, Congressman Floyd Fithian went to work in Congress to also deauthorize funding. Newman is proud of the grassroots efforts to halt the dam.
We accomplished what we set out to do, even if it took us 40 years.
Nitsch's Land Trust, which is headquartered in Tippecanoe County at Clegg Gardens along the Wildcat, acquired some of the foundation properties along the creek. Gus Nyberg is executive director.
The process of merging with the Wildcat Creek Foundation brought our attention on this beautiful stream, got us focused on ways to engage our membership there. We, shortly after merging with Wildcat Creek Foundation, we moved in our office at Clegg. We started doing monthly floats during the growing season on the creek. We started doing hikes along the river.
Nyberg says for lovers of the outdoors in the Lafayette area, like Joanne Clues and her family, the creek is one of the few ways to experience long, uninterrupted journeys into Indiana's natural world.
If there's going to be any sense of awe or wonder or appreciation of what we have in our natural resources, any understanding of the concern about what's occurring that's threatening some of those, it starts, I think, with learning early through the experience itself what it is to be out in nature, what it is to have a place where you can get in the water.